Welcome to High Cap Fridays, where information becomes action and action expands capacity. Knowing this stuff is great, but putting it into practice, that's what actually changes things. I'm Michelle Grosser, trial attorney turned nervous system strategist, and every Friday here on High Capacity, I'm going to give you one nervous system tool and one high cap move to take into the week ahead. Something really short, really practical, and designed to be acted on. Let's jump in. It's High Cap Friday. Michelle here. Welcome. If you listen to Tuesday's episode, so the one that was published right before this one, it's on mom guilt. This is the tool today that I promised you back in that episode. So if you didn't catch it, if you didn't listen to the last episode, 446, you don't need to listen to it to get everything out of today's episode. This tool is going to stand on its own. However, if mom guilt is something that you experience, and honestly, I think if you're a working mom with a full plate, there's probably a good chance it sneaks in every now and then. If you haven't listened, if you're curious, you can go back and listen to episode 446 about guilt. And I think it'll be helpful. It'll help reframe the whole conversation in a way that I think is going to land. But today we're going to get really practical on this High Cap Friday. So on High Cap Fridays, I give you guys a high capacity move for the week ahead. On Tuesday, we talked about why self-criticism makes guilt, mom guilt, and shame feel worse, right? Not better. We talked about how the inner critic, it can feel like accountability. It can feel like motivation. It can feel like what keeps our standards high and keeps us producing and hustling and getting things done. But the science doesn't support that. The research doesn't support that. What happens in actuality is that it keeps our nervous system in survival mode. It keeps us in threat mode. That collapses our window of tolerance, which is our capacity. It makes us more likely to do all of the things like snap at our kids and scrolling mindlessly, all the things that we end up feeling guilty about. So if self-criticism is the problem, what's the alternative? And the alternative is self-compassion. And before you roll your eyes or think I'm going to get all like woo-woo with you for a second, just stay with me because this is not what you think it is. So what I'm going to give you today is based off of the research of Kristin Neff. If you've been in my world, you've heard me speak about her. I use some of her frameworks in my programs. She's a researcher at the University of Texas at Austin, and her thing is self-compassion. She has spent decades studying self-compassion, like what it actually is, what it does to our brain, what it does to our nervous system, whether it works. And her findings are pretty hard to argue with. What she finds is that self-compassion actually outperforms self-criticism across the board. So it's better for motivation. Self-compassion is better for resilience. Self-compassion is better for expanding our capacity. It's better for performance. It's better for emotional regulation. It's just better, right? That inner critic doesn't actually make us better. It makes us more dysregulated. And a dysregulated nervous system is just a less capable one. So self-compassion is the go here. It's not lowering the bar, right? I'm not telling you to like make excuses so you feel better or bypass accountability. I'm talking about regulating your nervous system enough that you can actually respond to things that feel hard or uncomfortable or things that you feel guilty about instead of spiraling in it. Okay. It's a nervous system practice. So like any other practice, it's going to get easier over time if you use it consistently. But here's the tool. Okay. High cap move of the week, self-compassion break. Okay. That's what Kristin calls it. You can call it whatever you want. I call it a self-compassion reset sometimes because that's really what I need when I feel or notice guilt coming in. I'm like, all right, reset. And it has 3 steps. Whole thing takes about a minute. Okay. Step 1, you're going to acknowledge that this is hard, right? Acknowledge that this is uncomfortable. It's, I feel like I'm suffering in this. This is not ideal. I don't like this. Call it just whatever you want, but just acknowledge the suck. Okay. Name it without judging it. You can even say it out loud or just a whisper, but like in the moment, okay, this is hard, right? Man, I feel really guilty about that, right? oh gosh, I noticed this inner critic's chiming in. I'm being really hard on myself again, right? This hurts. Just name it. That's it. We talked about affect labeling a little bit on Tuesday. The research shows that just naming whatever emotional state we're in, that actually reduces the activity in our amygdala, which is our brain's threat detection center. So I'm not talking about like you're not wallowing here. You're signaling to your nervous system, I'm seeing it. I'm seeing what's happening here, right? We don't have to treat this like an emergency. I've got it. I'm calling it out. Okay. That's step number one. Just acknowledge that this is hard. And then step number two, and this is from Kristen's framework, common humanity. Okay. That's step two. This is the one that most directly interrupts the shame spiral because shame thrives in isolation, right? We know that shame can only exist in the dark. The minute you bring it to light, something about shame just changes. Shame feeds on the feeling that like, I'm the only one who does this. I'm the only one who treats my kids like this. I'm the only one who can't handle this. I'm the only one who snaps, right? Every other mom is handling it better, that there's like something uniquely wrong with you. All of that is a lie. So when you can remind yourself of common humanity, I'm not the only one who's ever felt this. Other moms feel this way too, right? Struggling doesn't make me a bad mom. It makes me a human. Imperfection is just part of the shared experience of being a parent. That's not toxic positivity. That's not like, it's a factual interruption to a lie. Okay. The fact that you're the only one, if you ever feel like that, or you're the worst one, all of that is a lie. How can we interrupt it with the truth? And physiologically, it also shifts the nervous system actually out of a state of shame, because what does shame do? It contracts, okay? But when we can recognize the common humanity of what we're experiencing, that sort of connection with others, that expands, okay? So shame contracts, connection expands. So when we can connect with the common humanity of trying to raise kids and do all the things, there's something that happens physiologically in our nervous system just with that with sharing that common humanity. So that's the second step. And then finally, the third step is self-kindness, okay? You're going to be kind to yourself. You're going to treat yourself how you treat your friend, or what you would say to her, what you would say to your kids, or what you would say to your husband, okay? And in that, you're going to ask yourself exactly that question. What would I say to my sister or my best friend who is feeling exactly the way that I'm feeling right now, right? If I just swapped shoes with her and she just experienced the last, 20 minutes of life that I just experienced, and she was feeling how I'm feeling right now, what would I say to her? And I'm sure you know what you would say. You wouldn't tell her she's a terrible mother, and you wouldn't tell her she's ruining her kids, and you wouldn't tell her that she needs to figure out this whole work-life balance thing because her kids are going to need therapy because she just worked too much. Like, you wouldn't run through every mistake she's made in the last month and bring it up and highlight it for her. And no, I know what you would do. You would be kind, and you would be honest, right? And you would be empathetic, and you would be warm. And maybe you would just sit and listen to her. Do that with yourself, okay? I'm not talking about a script, or like, I'm not going to give you some affirmation to paste to your, bathroom mirror and like say to yourself in the morning that you don't even believe. I'm talking about like basic human kindness that you would give everyone else without hesitation. You're doing your best with a really full plate, right? One hard moment doesn't erase everything that I've done right today or ever, right? I'm allowed to be imperfect. That's not the same as failing. And that's the reset, you guys. Acknowledge the suffering, right? This is hard. Common humanity. Other moms feel this way too. Struggling does not make me a bad mom. It makes me human. And then step 3, kindness, self-kindness. Speak to myself in the way that I would speak to somebody that I love. That's it, 60 seconds. That's your high cap move this week. Use it in a real moment, okay? You don't have to rehearse this, like not, quiet Tuesday morning when everything's going perfectly. I'm talking about when it hits the fan and that guilt comes, you snap, right? And then you're like, hate yourself for it. Or when you choose your phone over your kid and then you see their face like I did on Tuesday, when that inner critic shows up, pause. 60 seconds. Those 3 steps. You can write down the 3 steps or put them in your phone on a note or something, right? Come back to this episode maybe, but acknowledge the suffering, the common humanity, and then self-kindness. It's the shift. Notice what shifts in your body. Not necessarily your thoughts right away, but notice your body first. Maybe the tightening and then the heaviness and the contraction of shame. Notice if you feel any of that. And then when you go through this quick 60-second reset, notice whether it moves. What shifts? What changes? Because that shift, that small like loosening, that's your nervous system coming out of a threat. Okay, that's your capacity actually freeing up in real time. And the more you practice a reset like this, if you're someone who experiences a lot of guilt in the real moments, right, the more automatic it's going to become until one day, I promise you, you're going to rewire your way out of unproductive guilt and self-compassion is just going to become your default. Ah, what a good place to be, right? When that is your first response, self-compassion, instead of being so hard on yourself. And that's the long game, okay? But it starts this week. So go take action. The next time that you're feeling, right now, actually, first step, write this down somewhere that you can access it. Make a note in your phone or put it on a Post-it note somewhere that you're going to see it, or save this episode in a place where you can come back and find it when you need it. Action step number 1. And then second, use it. Okay. The next time that something inevitably is going to happen and then that guilt creeps in, go ahead and do this reset. Those 3 little steps. It's going to make all the difference. All right. Thanks for being here. I appreciate y'all. I'll see you on Tuesday. Talk soon. Thanks so much for listening today. If you haven't taken the What's Your Capacity Pattern quiz yet, it tells you which of the 5 capacity patterns is driving your exhaustion, your reactions, and your stress. So you know exactly where to focus your energy first. It's free. It takes 2 or 3 minutes. The link is in the show notes. And then come back on Tuesday for a full episode where we go deeper on the nervous system science and the tools behind everything we've been building. I'll see you on Tuesday.